Alright, for this video, we're going to step through how I would have designed and implemented the Fooddood project app version 1, 2, and 3. This is an assignment from spring 2022 for my CS235 Object-Oriented Programming with C++ course. So with this, we also have a mock client. In this case, it's this guy who wants to make a app that competes with like Grubhub or a DoorDash sort of thing. And so this first version, there's some basic functionality, and then it kind of keeps growing version to version. But at this point, since it's 235, I'm assuming that everyone has worked with classes and functions and arrays. And as we keep going through the class, we add more complexity to this program. So starting off, let's look at the acceptance criteria, and also let's work on a design document. So with version 1, we'll have a document. Hopefully the design is done before the actual programming, so let's add in, we need our list of iterations. So this is going to be Fooddood version 1, documentation, iterations is one of the items where we kind of plan out the order we're going to tackle the different features. Program layout, program data, and the documentation should be typed out, not just handwritten. Test cases, citations, post-mortem, and screenshots. So some of this gets done before we actually start coding, some of it gets done afterwards. So with version 1, it's going to be a basic kind of food delivery program. The assumed driver is just the one driver, this guy, Richard, I think, no, Raymond Dude. So currently he's the only person who's going to have driving / admin, so they're going to pull orders and be able to mark them as done, and then there'll be a client or a customer view where they can set up orders. So the acceptance criteria is, or the user stories are, as a customer, I want to be able to use the app to submit an order so that I can receive my food from Fooddood. As a customer, I want to be able to edit my name and phone number. As a driver, I want to be able to view a list of orders. As a driver, I want to be able to mark an order as completed. As a driver, I want to be able to add restaurants. As a driver, I want the order to contain information on which restaurant to pick up from and the destination to take the order to, and the customer name and phone number. As Raymond, currently the only driver, I want to be able to view the list of customers. And as an app user, I want all the data to be saved and loaded between runs so that we don't have to keep re-entering data all the time. And then we have some mockups. So starting off to think about iterations, let's just look at having a table here. Oh, that's test cases. So I'm not really going to work with the areas affected and estimated size. Let's just think about the features that need to be implemented. So first off, we're going to need some sort of program structure, like the setup for the menus, how to navigate through the menus. Even if we don't implement those menus right off the bat, it could just be kind of a skeleton that we end up filling over time. So we're going to need a login menu. We can see this in the mockups. We have a login menu, customer, main menu, customer, new order menu, customer, edit, info, menu, and then they should be able to update their phone number, driver, main menu, get driver, get next order, driver, add restaurant, driver, view all orders, driver, view all customers. So that's quite a lot of things, but just making a skeleton isn't going to be that big. So we'll just make this small. Compared to like the CS200 project, all of these features are going to take more time, but relatively this is going to be pretty simple. What else do we need? Well, we need to be able to submit an order. We need to be able to let the customer edit their name and phone number. So actually that would probably be one of the easiest things to do. So to customer, customer edit phone number, email, or not email, name. That'll also be small. This document does not say create new customers, so we can for now assume that there is only one customer. That will also simplify the scope of version 1 of this project. So they need to be able to submit an order. We could add that in there, though it might also be useful to add the restaurants first. So maybe doing the customer, setting up the restaurant objects, being able to create restaurants. That will be, I mean, it's kind of hard for me to estimate the sizes of these. The restaurant itself wouldn't be that much work, so I'll just say small. We also want to save and load data, so we might do that along the same time we're implementing these. So let's say customer object, save load customers, restaurants, orders. That will be more of a medium-sized thing. So the Raymond character person will be able to view this data, but then the other important part is submitting orders. So customer order creation and driver order completion. These are actually technically kind of small as well if you keep them very stripped down. And let's see, mark as complete, view list of orders, add restaurants. Say admin can add restaurants. And then the order should contain this information. So that will just be an order object. Okay. So let's just say like additional admin menu functionality, though certain things like being able to see customers, that could be implemented at the same time as we are implementing customers. We don't necessarily, we could do it everything afterwards for the admin menu as far as viewing all the data, or we could implement, we're doing customer, here's view customer, we're doing restaurant, here's view restaurant, and so on. So there are some mock-ups. It doesn't have to match exactly like these, but this is just to give an idea of what it will look like when the program is running. And the program layout, we need to think of how the different parts of the program run together. So I'm going to use my DIA program. I kind of prefer this for my diagramming. And it's not going to be like a program flow chart, just a flow of how you get between menus. So we'll have a login menu that can either do like a go to quit, customer view, or to driver view. Here we'll have a customer main menu and a driver main menu. And so these can each ideally go in both directions. So we can go between these. Customer main menu, we can log out, update name, update phone number, new order. And then that will go to a new order menu. And that will let them kind of set up what their order data is. With the edit, let's say name menu, we'll have that. We'll have a edit phone number menu. So we'll set that up. With the driver main menu, we'll need a get next order menu where then they can view the order and set it as complete. We want a add restaurant menu. Let me go ahead and also type these out here. 0 for log out, 1 for get next order, 2 for add restaurant, 3 for view all orders, 4 for view all customers. So we need a add restaurant menu, we need a view orders menu, and a view all customers menu. And I would even put a view all restaurants menu as well, just because that makes it a lot easier to make sure the changes we are creating are getting saved. So we have that. Well, I'm not going to really save that file. View our customer list. There's some initial data. We can change that around. So that is where we're going to start from. And here, I'm just going to take a screenshot and we'll open up Glimpse, which is just a image editor, and I'll just copy and paste this into my document. So there's an example of the program layout for now for this version 1. Program data, that's going to be the same as what's in here. So we'd have customers, restaurants, and then it should be able to be expanded. Test cases will be how we actually test it out, which again will be somewhat easier after we've implemented it, but it can also, we can write the test cases beforehand, and honestly doing it beforehand would be better, but we'll just do this after to try to illustrate some of the options. So I'll close that. Over here, I'm going to create my program. So again, at this point in the class, the student should have already had like a basic coding C++ class. So you should know how to use classes and arrays and functions. Let's start off with just main.cpp. Well, don't really need to include anything at this point. I'm going to create a program class. We need our file guards. So I usually wrap my programs in a class itself. We will probably be using vectors. Just to store all of the data. So we have customers, restaurants, and orders. So we'll probably want some structs at least for that. Let's create a constructor and a destructor. We're going to need functionality to save and load the data. So I'm just creating basically the shell of everything, including the menus that we're going to need. So in here, I'll do, let's say, void run, void init data. So I'll just use data as well. So if we don't find a file to load the data from, we're just going to initialize with the basic data. Let's do void menu login, void menu customer, void menu admin. Maybe I'll just name these like main. And then from there, these will also have submenus. So void menu customer new order. We'll just kind of keep that naming style consistent. Edit name, edit phone, admin, get next order. Or I guess technically this would be like the driver, because we don't really have a difference between a admin and a driver at this point. Void get next order, add restaurant, view all orders, view all restaurants, view all customers. So that would be kind of the basic menu layout, and we're just going to hook up these menus. And not really implement the functionality at this point. So we will also need a program.cpp, include program.h. We are most likely going to need iostream, fstream for our file loading, iomanip, possibly string, probably string, but that might be included elsewhere. So I will take these functions, paste them in here, grab these, paste them over here. We're going to prefix each of these with program : which is the class name and the scope resolution operator. And then we're going to create the function bodies. Now, generally in these courses, if your functions, if the definitions are not in a CPP file and the declarations are not in a header file, if one of those things are true, I will generally count off a little bit of points because this should be standardized C++. Now, of course, things will change over time, and I'm not sure what the C++ 2022 version is going to have as far as modules, but we'll see. Now for main, we're going to need to create a program and then just call the run function. So I'll include program.h here, and then we can set up these basic menus and worry about the actual functionality later. So this might be, these constructor destructor might be needed down the road, or we could use them to call the load data function and the save data function, so we don't have to explicitly call it. We're not going to worry about that right now, but just to illustrate what's happening, let's go ahead and just output which function we are currently in, so we can make sure we're, hitting the correct areas. And then this can be removed later on. So setting this up may be a little bit tedious. This sort of thing is, usually when I'm watching videos or something while working on just kind of the formatting and getting everything to look nice ahead of time. The stuff where I don't have to do a lot of thinking, I'm just kind of doing formatting. So we'll create these, I'll make the basic menus. I also have a utility class or a menu class that I like to use, but we could implement it without that. But basically, since I end up using this sort of thing a lot, we end up writing a lot of menus. I have a helper class, and it has functionality for converting between string and int and all of that, but also just getting a menu displayed to the screen and getting the selection. It makes things a little bit faster than having to see out stuff all the time, but I'm not going to include it. It just makes everything look a little bit nicer. You can create reusable functions for that sort of thing. Now I have another cat wandering around. Okay. Hi. Okay. So in here, in the main program loop, I'm just going to, or say run, but we're going to have go to the menu main or menu login. And under menu login, let's create kind of a header. Maybe I'll make a little helper function just for the header. So this helper function, just throw it down here. We'll do a cout, maybe some end lines, maybe a horizontal bar. And then we'll output this text. So we'll call header up here in the login menu. So header login. And I'm going to have a bool done is false. While we're not done, we are on the menu. Then we'll have a list of options. So again, in the spec document, there should be quit, and then customer view and driver view. So if we wanted to make something like int get choice, int min, int max, that'll help us validate input, but we could also do something like int get menu choice, and we'll do a vector of strings for options. And that can also be used so we don't have to duplicate a bunch of code all the time with the C-ins and C-outs and getting the choice. So for get choice, we're going to ask the user to enter a value, min and max. Okay. And while their choice is less than the minimum or choice is greater than the maximum, we'll tell them that's invalid and have them re-enter their selection. And at this point in the while loop, if we're done with the while loop, that means their input was valid, so we're going to return it. Here, we are going to have a list of options that we store as a vector, and we're going to ask the user to enter a value and then return what that is. So for the options, we can say for size t I is equal to 0, I is less than options dot size I plus plus. We'll output I and the options value, and then we'll get their selection. So choice is equal to get choice, 0 is valid, and then up through options dot size minus 1. So technically we could just return that, and that will display the menu options and then get the user input and kind of handle that for us. So we'll display the header. We'll do a get menu choice. Let's have options for log out. And I don't remember if there's a specific order. Customer view, driver view. So if I run this, I have strings, but I don't have strings up here, so I need to include that. Here's the little header with the little menu, and it wants me to enter a value between 0 and 2, and so we can just keep reusing this. Then we can use a switch statement or a if statement to go between different menus. So if switch on the choice, we'll say case 0, that's log out. Case 1, that's customer view. So log out, don't really need to do much, just say done is true. Customer view. So we'll call the menu customer main, and driver view, menu driver main. So then that pretty much works as we need. So we'll go to log out, and then it saves the data, except nothing really happens. And that will call the main customer main, but again, nothing happens because we haven't implemented anything. So we're actually going to do the same thing for any of these menus that have a submenu where you just are navigating to another submenu. So here's customer main. We'll just say customer main menu. This will let them log out or update name or update phone number or create a new order. Now up here, I'm going to actually change this to quit because that actually quits the program. Basically, it'll quit the program because it'll leave this loop. Once the loop ends, it'll go back to wherever it ran from, and then this will end, and then basically the program closes. So we have this. This will be log out, update name, menu customer, edit name, menu customer, edit phone, and case 3 is going to be new order, menu customer, new order, and break. So then that all is okay. We have the basic navigation code there. New order, gonna work on that later. Edit name, edit phone, driver main. This is going to be the driver main menu. Log out, get next order. You can also put these on separate lines if that makes it a little easier to read. Let's see, add restaurant, view all orders, customers, and let's just add restaurants in here too. So log out, menu, driver, next order, menu, driver, add restaurant. So we can change this, add restaurant. I mean, technically this code is pretty descriptive on its own, so I don't need these comments. 3, 0, 1, 2, 3 is view all orders. 4 and 5, we have customers next, view all customers, and view all restaurants. So then those are all together. And we could rearrange it as well, but let's just look at this. So driver menu. Oh, did I not put commas? Kind of need those commas there. Let's double check this real quick. Okay, that has commas as well. That's why it's good to test before you do a whole lot of work. So then these are all together. I might end up rearranging this so that we have add restaurant next to view restaurants. Orders, next order could be next to view all orders, and then customer and whatever. So then we'd have to actually update it down here as well. So 0, add restaurant is 1, view all restaurants is 2. Oh, did I do that wrong? No. Yes, okay. This goes here. Next order, 0, 1, 2, 3. View all orders, and then view all customers. And then ideally you would be testing this out to make sure these all go to the correct places. So right now 4 is view all orders, view all customers, so that looks okay. All right. So that's the base menu navigation. Now what are we going to do? Well, let's have it so the customer can edit their information. Currently, we're just going to assume there's one customer because nothing else was specified in there. So I'm going to create a customer.h. And ideally, each class object should have its own file. I could make this a struct. I could make this a class. I'll just say a struct customer. My cat Luna wants some attention, so that's why she's meowing in the background. What kind of information will a customer have? Well, not a whole lot is specified. But we'll need a name or like a login or something and a phone number. I would store phone number as a string because it could be formatted, could be not. And I think that's all we really need for now. Oop, oh, now my cat is climbing all over me. So there's multiple cats. Got this cat as well. Hello. Okay. Ow. Just a second. So our program will store a customer. And we'll just put that somewhere here in private. So let's say customer m customer. I like to name my private member variables with a m_ prefix. And we can start working on this. So let's say with the data, we'll probably want separate files for that, but let's at least do the init data. And I'm just going to call init data from here for now. So for our customer, we'll set the name to something default. Let's just say Rachel, phone number 111, and so on. And then we can go ahead and make the changes to the customer menu. So let's go up here and go to right click, edit name. So if they want to edit their name, I'm going to go ahead and change the header and put this up here. This is new order, edit name, and edit phone. Okay. So really, if they want to edit their name, we can just say enter new name. It could be useful to also say like current name is customer.name. Enter new name. We need to do a cn.ignore because we've been doing cns with the stream operator like this. So if we don't have cn.ignore and we want to allow them to enter a name with spaces, we need to have that there. So customer.name. And then maybe we want to just have a confirmation message like name updated. Any sort of additional information to the user is generally a good thing. Otherwise, sometimes you don't know what's happening. It's good to have that confirmation. So update name is currently Rachel. Let's change this to Cora. And at the moment, I can't see it here. I can see that it says name updated, but it might be nice to also be able to see the customer information from here so I can view that I updated it without having to go back in here to change it again, which is annoying. So from the main menu, let's go ahead and do customer main menu and maybe display the customer information. So name, my cat is throwing my stuff on the ground. And we can do phone. And we can see how this looks. So we'll hit run, customer menu, update name, current name is Rachel. Okay, I don't like how close together these are, so I'm going to add one more end line in between that and the menu. So then it should look a little bit better. So there's the name, there's the phone number. We could add like the set width command just to have things look a little bit nicer, maybe more aligned, but this should be fine for now. Okay, so we have edit name, same thing for edit phone number. We can use the same kind of format. Current phone number is, and why did I close that? There we go, phone number. Enter new phone number. We can also do this because maybe sometimes people put spaces instead of dashes or whatever else. Ideally, you know, in the real world, we would be taking some data and then reformatting it to make sure it looks okay. But we're not going to worry about that. So there we go. Let's go back. Now we aren't currently saving data. Let's see what we have next. Creating restaurants, and admin can add restaurants. So the next thing we'll do is let's create a restaurant struct. For the restaurant information, we'll basically just have names, and then in the documentation, you'll see that for now, the prices are just like a flat price, like you are only able to get one type of meal from each restaurant. So I'm going to create a struct restaurant. We need a include string using namespace std. And now that I see this, I realize that there are multiple customers, so maybe we'll go back and change this to a vector of customers. But we're still assuming you're only really using one person. So we will have a login menu later on for another version, but not quite yet. So struct restaurant, string name, float price for whatever the meal they offer is. We could also just say like string meal name. So this will also get changed in a future version, but we're just basing this on the version 1 documentation. So back in program, we're going to need to include restaurant. Let's go ahead and change this to a vector of customers and a vector of restaurants. And since we have a vector of customers, I'm going to go ahead and just say int m active customer ID, something like that, where whoever is logged in is going to be stored, their index is going to be stored there. Or we could do a pointer, but we don't need to do that. So doing that, that's going to cause some build errors because we're going to have to come back and fix this up. So let me just go ahead and add these people. I'll do this as active customer ID is 0. We can also just add more. So if I created a constructor for my customer, I could just say customer with a name and a phone number, but I currently do not have a constructor, so that might be nice to add. Customer. We'll do an empty constructor that does nothing. Customer string name, string phone number. And then I'm going to put these in a source file. So customer.cpp. We need to include customer.h, and then we'll implement these constructors. The default constructor has no arguments, no parameters. At this point, it would be a parameter. And so we'll just, I don't know, set name to none and set phone number to none, just as defaults. And customer with string name, string phone number. We'll set this name, which is this version right here. So this name is that. This name, that's not, is this one right here. It's kind of hard to verbally explain, but hopefully highlighting things makes things more clear. So this arrow name is the member variable, whereas just using name itself is the parameter. So now we have that nice little constructor. Over here, we can change this to be like that and like that. So that's one customer. And we can add the other people listed here. And we currently do not have a way to see if any phone numbers are unique. That's not really needed right now, especially since we don't have logins. But we'll just kind of change these. So active customer ID is 0. That's going to be the Rachel right there. Customer name, and then just put that in here to say that the current active person logged in, display their phone number and name. And this should be an S now. Where else? We're going to update customers blah.name. Customers blah.name. Customers blah.phone number. Customers blah.phone number. Okay. So just to test things out again, we still have that showing up. That still is able to be updated. And technically it doesn't double check phone number for validity, but that's okay at the moment. Okay. So we have some basic stuff for that. We're currently adding restaurants. So I am going to also create a constructor for the restaurant. So our default constructor and our parameterized constructor. And we'll create a source file and implement these. So over here, we'll just say name is none, meal name is none. and price is 0 as default values. And set those up. So that builds. In our program Init Data, let's just add the default data as well. In restaurants. I'm always wondering if I spell that right. It's kind of a difficult word for me to spell. Okay. So we'll need 3 of them. We'll do taco triangle, dairy monarchy, and McDowell's. Okay, and then their meals, we'll just kind of set up, let's say that they have tacos, they have ice cream, and they have burger, and we'll just set some basic prices. So taco, I don't know, $1.29, ice cream, burger. So those should be added. There's not really a way to verify it unless we set a breakpoint to check the data. So in the admin menu, let's just add in our view all restaurants. So we'll do header, driver, view all restaurants. We will want to iterate through everything, and it might be good to just have a nice table. So when I'm doing a table, first I think about the header. So we'll need set width. We'll have a space for the index or the ID. Then we'll need a space for the restaurant name. So that could be pretty long. So we'll do that. Maybe a longish name for the meal. So meal name. And then the price really shouldn't be that long. So we'll just have price. And we'll do a long horizontal bar, and then we'll output each restaurant's information in the same way. So instead of ID, this is going to be I. This is going to be M restaurants at position I dot name. This is going to be the meal name, and this is going to be the price. And when we go to driver menu, view all restaurants, it's currently aligned to the right. We could also initialize these to be aligned to the left by doing something like cout left. We can also make sure our currency is always formatted the way we want by saying fixed set precision 2. So then that will make everything look like US dollars. It's not going to prefix the, I'm going to include biostream and probably, I think, IOMinit. It's not going to add the $sign to our values, but if this was like a 2.915, it would just show the 2.9 or the 0.29, sorry. So that's set up. We have those. We can do the same sort of thing for viewing all customers. So I'll just copy this. We have add restaurant. We'll get back to that. Customers have a name and a phone number. Do not have a price though, so we'll do that. M customers. And we'll get rid of that part. So this will be phone number. And that should be okay, I think. Let's go ahead and test it out. Driver, view all customers, and there we have that. So that looks okay. So let's see. We have that. Let's add restaurants. So we'll have to ask the person or the admin, what is the new restaurant's name, meal, name, and price? So here we have add restaurant. I'll add a header. So add new restaurant. Create a restaurant variable. We'll ask the user what is the name of the restaurant. Do cn.ignore, getLine, cn new restaurant's name. We'll also need the meal name. Let's just even say one of three questions. 2 of 3. We do not need a cn.ignore again here because we're not using the stream operator in between. 3 of 3, what is, well, let's see, of the meal they serve, what is the price of the meal they serve, and then this one will be cn new restaurant dot price, and at the end we need to make sure to add it to our vector. And let's go ahead and also do a confirmation. Restaurant added. Okay, let's do that. Test it out. Driver view. There's view all restaurants. Let's add a restaurant. So let's just say this is Taco Bell, and they have a burrito, and it is $7.99, a very expensive burrito. So view all, there it is, it shows up. And since we don't currently have saving and loading working, when I rerun this program now, it will not have that there. So we at least have adding new restaurants. Next thing will be saving and loading customers' restaurants and orders for the data. So with the data, we're going to need to have a specific way things are formatted, and we'll use that format to help us save and load the data. So first off, let's do save data. We don't really need this anymore. So for save data, let's do output file stream output. I'll open up, let's do, we'll do customers first. This doesn't have to be a txt file. We could name it like a .dat or a food file, Fooddood file, I don't know. Either way, it can be opened with a text editor. So output customers.txt, we're going to want to iterate through every customer to save their data. So let's go ahead and grab the for loop right here. And let's just copy this whole thing. And instead of doing cout, we're going to want to output their data in a certain way, where we're going to load the name and phone number. And I would put these on separate lines. So let's just say output customers I.name, output customers I.phone number, and it will always be in that order. We could also do like an extra end line, but then that will be a very specific way that things are organized in their text file. We'll do output.close, and let's open a new thing, open restaurants.txt. Same sort of thing. Do m restaurants. Now, note that I'm not outputting the index value. I don't really need that. It'll just load it and then push it into the vector when we write load data. But for the restaurants, we need that. We need meal name and meal price. And then that should be fine. And when we run this, it should call that ahead of time. So let's go to driver menu. We're going to add a new restaurant. So view all restaurants. There's not really a way for us to add new customers at the moment, but we'll go ahead and log out and quit the program the proper way. And then in the project folder, this is where it gets stored by default. So here's customers.txt. We'll open it with a text editor. And so there's the data. And then restaurants.txt. And then there's that data. So we will know that we need to load in first the name of a restaurant, then the menu item, and then the price. So along the same line in load data, let's do an input file stream and try to open customers.txt. Make sure those are the same, customers.txt. We could also make this a little bit cleaner by just creating like a data folder. Let's do data. And if we put these in there, we'll need to make sure to also prefix the path here as well. So we'll try to open customers.data. If input.fail, if it fails to open that data, we'll just run init data instead to kind of get the baseline basic data. Otherwise, we can load the information. So we will do let's have a buffer or I'm trying to think of how we want to do this. We could do just a simple buffer, but we're going to always be loading like 2 chunks of information, name, phone number, name, phone number. So let's just say customer, load customer. We can do while get line input into load customer dot name. So while we can get a name, then we also get the customer phone number at the same time, and we add them in there. So push back the load customer. So that should continue going until it runs out of stuff to read. And we can close the input file. Could also be good just to say like customer size, customers loaded. We can do the same thing for the restaurant. And we'll also need to open up input.open data restaurants.txt. So while we're able to load in a name, we should also then be able to load in a menu name. I forgot what I called it, meal name. Just double check. Meal name. And then we'll need to get the restaurant.price and then add this to our M restaurants. But we'll also need to do this because we're going to be switching between our get lines and our input streams. So then let's also display how many restaurants are loaded. And build and run. I'm missing a terminating character. Okay, so 6 customers loaded, 2 restaurants loaded. That does not seem correct. So let's go ahead and put a breakpoint here and look at what that data looks like. So this is 6 customers loaded, and it will say the amount of restaurants. So let's do M customers, M restaurants. 6 customers. Who do we have? Rachel. 3. Okay. So it was loading in some of those empty lines as names. So we probably want to reformat this so that we don't have the extra end line at the end, or we want to write this so that it takes that into account. I'll go ahead and go into here and get rid of the new lines, and it won't be as nice to read this data file, but technically this file is for the computer, not for us. So 5 customers loaded, 5 restaurants loaded. Let's just go ahead and view all restaurants. There's a blank one at the end. Good. View all customers. So that could also just be an end line at the end of the file. See if that resolves the issue. View all restaurants. Yeah. Okay. So we're loading the data. That should be good. And whenever I create a new restaurant, that should also show up. So okay. So let's look at this. That got resaved, but it's the same data. And now we have that new data here. Okay, next up is actually working with the orders. So we need to be able to create an order and also keep track of if it's in progress or if it's done. And we'll also want to save it to a text file as well. So let's go ahead and create a order.h. struct order. Now, what kind of information do we need for the order? Well, we will probably want the restaurant's data and the customer's data. Now, we could have a pointer to a specific restaurant. I spelled that wrong. And a pointer to a specific customer, or we could have int restaurant ID, customer ID. But from the way I think through these things, if we were having a list of just a copy of the data each time, anytime the customer like changes their name, our data will still be historically accurate. Or if the restaurant changes their price, if we had a pointer to that, it would take the most recent price. Or if we had an ID, it would reference it and get the most recent price instead of whatever they paid it back then. So I am going to have these be copies of the data. Now we'll also need something to store what the status of the order is. And the best option for this is probably just making an enum class. So we'll do order status, and we'll set up statuses like waiting driver or waiting for driver or something. Let's say being picked up, being delivered, and complete. We could also add other things. Let's just put being delivered. And then we'll put that in here. Order status, and put status. Okay, so we have an order, and then in our program, we will also have a list of orders. And we'll need to include that up here. Okay, so we'll start off with no orders. It'll just be empty. But what's going to happen is the customer will want to be able to set or create an order. So let's go to new order. They will want to be able to see what restaurants they have to choose from. So here's up here, which place, and then enter a address. That's another thing. Let's go ahead and put the address in here because the customer is not always at the same place. So maybe they have a specific address they want it delivered to. So we'll do that. So, new order. Let's display the restaurant. So step 1 of whatever, we'll do this later. Select restaurant. And we'll want to display all of the restaurants. Now we do have a view all restaurants function. Maybe we want that, or we could like kind of split this out so we can use the same thing in multiple places. So let's just say void. We'll make this a helper function. So display restaurant table. I'll just throw this down here. We will just steal this part. And then we will call this over here. So we'll take the same function call, and when we are going to create a new order, we're going to display the list of restaurants. We'll do int restaurant index is equal to get choice 0 to restaurants.size -1. Next, we want to know where they're delivering to. Got the stream operator there. 2 of x. Enter delivery or deliver to address. Let's do string address, cn.ignore, get line cn address, and that I think is all we really need. There we go. And then we should have a message that says order received. Order received. Of course, that might be a lie because we're not actually doing anything with this order at this point. So we'll also need to create a order, new order. At the end, we'll need to do mOrders.pushBack our order. So the restaurant index is here. Let's do new order.restaurant is equal to mRestaurants at that index. So that will copy that over. Well, we can also copy the customer over. So new order.customer is equal to mCustomers, current active. I forgot what I named that. Whoever is currently logged in, active customer ID. So that will copy that over. We have the delivery address. Technically, we do not need to declare that because we can say order dot address, and we can also default its status to order status awaiting driver. So it's just kind of sitting there waiting for a driver to pick it up to go deliver it. So we have that pushed here. And let's go ahead and implement the view all orders as well. So down here, view all customers, restaurant, and view all orders. Do the same sort of thing with our set width. And now this will be for mOrders. So let's display the ID of the order, the customer name. We'll do this a little bit in different ways. Name, customer, and then let's add an address. Well, we could also add the status too. So I'll throw that here because that will be probably one of the things you look at first. Status. Now, we can't really display this as a string. If this was a normal enum, it would be a number, but that's not really very user-friendly. So we could also add a little function, like a helper function. So let's do string get order string, order status type. And then down here with all of our helpers, we'll just do a check. So if type is equal to order status awaiting, else if, and else, we'll just return awaiting driver or being delivered or complete. So we'll fix these right here. And otherwise, if it's something not recognized, which shouldn't happen, we'll just say unknown. So up here, I'm going to display the orders, ID, then the status. So we'll do set width. We might need more space than 10. I'll say get order status, get order string, mOrders at position I dot status. The customer name, this will be the dot customer dot name. Orders restaurant dot name. And we probably want the address. So this will be the order dot address. And we could also put the price in here as well, which could be important. So we'll do that as well. So we'll do the restaurant.price. And so that builds. Let's see if this works out. So I'm currently a customer and we get a segfault. Yay! Okay, so let's figure out why that happened. This is from the login menu, so I'll put a breakpoint right there and we'll just step through this. I don't really need these couts. Now they're kind of distracting. What else was output? Run and menu login. So I don't want this up top, but still. Yeah. I'm going to choose the customer menu, which is where I think it crashed. just now. We'll go in. So now we're here. Done is not true. Oh, did I not set the active customer ID? That was because I set that in the Init Data, and now Init Data is not being called. So if I put that in here, we'll see that it's garbage. So we'll close that. Let's make sure to... let's just put this in the constructor. So now it should not crash. There we go. New order. 1, select the restaurant. I might put some more spacing here. I don't like how that looks. So it's faster sometimes to just go back here and go that way. And for some reason it is annoying sometimes. I am going to add another new line. Taco triangle. I also don't like how squished together those are, so I'm going to add another new line. And we'll just say that. Order received. We'll log out. Driver view. View all orders. Okay, so the address doesn't fit super good. Did I already set this to left aligned? It is, but there's not really enough space for the status, the customer. So let's go ahead and change the display all orders. Status should probably also be like 20. Address, price. Okay, well, we'll go ahead and check out how this looks. We'll have to create another order, so maybe we should just go ahead and implement the order loading and saving. So let's do save data, orders, orders.size, and output the restaurant customer status and address. So the actually it might be good to get the restaurant name so we can okay, we'll just output all the data and then just load all the data back in. So we'll do restaurant dot name. We'll do it in the same order here. Excuse me. This will be orders dot customer. Then orders, let's just do address, and then the order status, we might have to cast to something else first. Yeah. So we could cast this just to an integer and then try to cast it to the order status afterwards. Or alternatively, we could use that get order string and just have to do the opposite conversion when we load it back in. So build, and then we'll have the load, but we don't need that right now. So customer will create a new order again. And log out and log out. Let's go check the data. Orders. And there's that one order. Now we'll need to do a load. So load data. Order, load order. Load from the orders file. And so it's going to load in the same format. So I'll just copy paste this for reference. So we're going to load in the restaurant name first. Then the restaurant.meal name. And then the restaurant.price. Then we need the customer name. So this will be load order customer name and phone number. And then the address. And then we need the order string converted back into a enum. So we'll just do the opposite here. So let's go here and implement the opposite. So if type is awaiting driver, then we're going to return order status awaiting driver. And if it's being delivered, we'll set it to being delivered. And if it's complete, then we'll set it to complete. Otherwise, let's just go ahead and make an unknown just for error states. Otherwise, we just return order status unknown. So then we should be able to use this while we're loading the data. We're going to get a string, so let's just do a temporary string status, get line input status, then load order dot status is equal to get order status with that string. And we will push this onto the orders vector. So we'll run it. One order loaded. We can view it in here. So there it is. It goes off the 80 width of the terminal, so I kind of have to make it full screen, but if we have too much data, that kind of happens. So we could also make these strings shorter if we wanted to. You know, in modern software, we don't usually have to truncate as much data, but in older software, we did. But that's fine. So we have orders being created, and now we need order completion. So let's go ahead and go to get next order. So this will just pull whatever the next order is. Technically, it's not a queue structure, but we're going to basically treat it like that. Whatever is at the front of our list of orders is what we're going to tell the driver to fulfill. So let's first just check to make sure we have orders. So if the size is 0, we'll just output no orders. Otherwise, then in here we actually have an order. So let's just output the data of the order. If we wanted to, we could create a function inside of order to do it for us. But let's just say next order and just output some information. So restaurant from restaurant. So m orders at position 0 dot restaurant dot name. And put address. I didn't put in restaurant address, did I? I think I just put the meal name. That can be later. Okay, we'll do just to customer. Customer dot name. Well, technically this one should be the address. We'll do customer name and order status. And we'll display the string version. So get order status. So that will be information that the driver sees, and then they're either going to change it from awaiting driver to being delivered, or being delivered to complete. So let's say if order status is awaiting driver, we'll do one thing, else if that is being delivered. Okay. And technically, we might not want to keep all of the orders in the same array. Once it's done, we might want to put it in a different vector. But we'll get to that here in a minute. So if it's awaiting driver, let's say change from awaiting driver to being delivered, yes or no. Over here we can say change from being delivered to complete, yes or no. And let's go ahead and create another get choice. So char get choice, and we'll just make that like always do upper lower. Or let's just say get yes, no choice. So down here, we'll do char choice, or technically it could be a string. Let's just say string choice, cn choice, then char ch choice, I guess, I don't know, is equal to choice, the very first character. And let's also make that a to upper, so that it's always uppercase. And technically we don't need that char, we'll just do that. We could also say while choice is let's go back a moment. We'll make that stay there. So while choice is not y and choice is not no, we'll just say invalid input. What did we say before? Invalid entry, try again. And we'll get their choice again, and then we'll convert it to a character again. And once we're down here, that should be either Y or N. Okay, so get yes, no choice. Let's go back to where we were at. Get next order. Char choice is equal to get yes, no choice. Then we can have something like if choice is yes, say the m orders at position 0 dot status is equal to order status being delivered. Down here, we'll change it to complete. Say status updated. Well, technically that should only be inside of here. Okay, now if it's complete though, this is going to continually give us item number 0 even if it's complete. So we could do something like creating another vector of orders. So let's just say like vector order completed orders. I think that would be the easiest way to do this. And we can technically just say this dot push back m orders at position 0. But then we also want to remove that item from the front. So, okay, so now we'll need to remove item number 0 from our orders. So C++ vector. Always have to double check how to do this. Let's look at the erase. Or, yeah, erase elements. So we can do the beginning and then just, we don't need a plus anything because this is going to remove the first thing. So erase m orders dot begin, and that should remove that. And it is mad at me. Oh, because I made a change there, but I'm undoing that change. And this should be string. And that needs a semicolon. CH choice. Okay. Well, I would say it's important to test it now. So I'm going to go ahead and create another order. And let's look at the orders. We have those there. I am going to have to change this to save the completed orders. But we have these. We have the first order awaiting driver, second order awaiting driver. So driver view, get next order. Now I need to be able to complete the order, which actually it does add it to the list of completed orders. However, nothing is really being done with that. So let's go back to the view all orders. Over here, we'll display this as the pending orders. And we'll have a duplicate of this so we can display the completed orders. And so this will be same sort of thing there, and we will also need to save the data as well. Save and load. So we'll do save first. There's orders. Let's also do completed orders. Change these. Go ahead and build and run. So driver view, get next order. Need to take a taco over there. This is awaiting driver to being delivered. Okay, now it's going to be assigned to me. Let's look at get next order again. Now it's currently being delivered. Is it complete? Yes. And now the next order would be from a different place. So I'm going to say no, let's not update that, but we can view all orders. Oh, that was the wrong one. So pending orders and completed orders. And now let's log out, make sure that data gets saved. Completed orders. There we go. And we also want to make sure the data gets loaded back in as well. Technically, we can keep using load order. Change this to completed orders. And completed orders. Add these in. So let's make sure when we run this, we can now still view all of the orders. So there's the completed orders down here. Okay, so that one was actually not very small. That actually took quite a bit of work. So that should have been maybe medium or large. We might have everything we need for this version 1. So double checking this. I mean, we have being able to set the order status, changing that up. It's done, viewing all the orders afterwards, and so on. Now we might need to update the documentation. So post-mortem, down here, this is going to be what went well, what didn't go well, what will you change for next time. I would just put here, set didn't think about creating a completed orders data structure ahead of time, had to add in. It can be, you know, whatever kind of ends up happening. Citations, well, I utilized the C++ documentation, so I'll just link to this. There, need that because I always forget what the functionality is or exactly how to use it. Test cases, this could be pretty in-depth, but for instance, let's say, how do we test that the customer can change their name? Customer can change name. So the steps would be something like 1, from login screen, select 1 to go to customer view. From customer main menu, select 1 to go to update name. From edit name screen, enter a new name. Let's just say Cora. And then from customer main menu, verify that name is now Cora. So that would be one manual test. We could do the same for update phone number. New order would be, okay, go to the screen, do new order, select this, type in something here, log out, look at driver, look at the orders, and so on. So that would be, you know, something where you would test out all of the core functionality. And then screenshots, just parts of the program running. So for instance, take this as a screenshot, put it in the documentation, and let's go back and look at the next order. So that's kind of a main feature. Take a screenshot, copy, paste it in there, and so on. So that would be kind of the documentation portion of this. And then it should be exported to a PDF file so that formatting gets saved because I don't have Microsoft Word. And I want to be able to make sure I can see everything properly. So all of that was version 1 of this project, but that would be something you did like in 1 month or, you know, about that time, 3 weeks for that whole thing. Now, version 2, there are some updates. So there's a third admin option. So basically the client, the fake client, will want to have hired more drivers, but that also means separating out the admin access from the basic driver access. So same thing with design document needing that stuff. Tips. Okay, new user stories. I want an admin menu so that I can view all the program data. I want a separate driver object so that I can also keep track of drivers who are working for me. Set a delivery fee, so that will be paid on top of the customer meal. Set delivery payment, so the drivers will get a portion of the delivery fee or in addition to. Excuse me. Order data will be saved between program runs. I just added that because a lot of people didn't save that for the first version. Want to be able to register an account as a driver so that then new drivers can be added. Customer wants to view order history so they can see what all they have done, ordered in the past. Driver see order history and what they're getting paid. Restaurant owner wants to be able to set the meal's price to be listed in the app. And then again, as Raymond wants to be able to update each restaurant's meal price. So we still don't have multiple meals per restaurant. We're still just one flat meal amount, but we are going to be updating this. So let's save this, close this stuff out, come out here and make a copy. And we'll rename this to number 2. Open the design doc for version 2. And have some new iterations. And then in our code blocks project, I'm going to change this to also say version 2. Okay, so before we start coding, let's think about what the iterations will be. We're going to need to separate out the admin menu from the drivers. So let's just put a list of features right here for now. Create driver object or split out admin and driver menus. Separate employee and driver, keep track of drivers. Ability to register new driver. Ability to set delivery fee and driver fee. Order history saved, already got that knocked out. Customer and driver order history. Now, they shouldn't all have the same data, so a customer should only be able to see their own order history, not everybody's order history, so we'll have to talk about that. and the ability to update restaurant meal prices for the admin. Okay, so this is going to require adding in some filtering at different levels. Delivery fee and driver fee, that would be just a couple extra variables we add onto things. Ability to register a new driver, that's going to be a whole new data file and data structure of drivers. And we're going to have to update some menus. So first, let's just create admin menu stubs. I don't know, that'll be maybe smallish. Create driver menu or update or whatever. And let's also have this also be register new driver area screen. I'm going to mark that as medium because we're going to have data, new data loaded and saved. Add delivery driver fee to orders, able to set from admin menu. So that'll be medium because we also have to update the data. Order history for customer and driver views with filters. Medium. Meal prices is actually going to be pretty easy. So let's just do that. Let's do that as the very first thing. Update meal price ability admin menu. Okay. So we'll double check this later. There's the program notes and stuff, updated mockups, so view delivery history when we're a customer or when we're a driver. Setting delivery fee and payment, and a new admin view. Edit restaurant information, maybe a submenu where you set that stuff, and so on. So first off, let's just update the menu or the restaurant prices. So we already have a meal name and a restaurant price for that meal. So in our program, remember we have the driver menu and we can view restaurants or add restaurants, but we can't edit restaurants. So we will need a edit functionality. So let's just copy that, make edit restaurant, go over here, and put this right below. Oops. And add our little edit thing, edit restaurant, excuse me. And up here, we're doing this. Let's have add restaurant, edit restaurant. So now I'm going to have to shift all these again, which is one reason this is not the best design. In my reusable menu edit thing, I actually also have a version that deals with strings, which is not the best for making sure you don't have typos and causing bugs in that way, but it does help out with the changing menu numbers all the time. We have add restaurant, edit restaurant, and then we'll shift all these and possibly need to test these out to make sure they don't break, but this will at least make it a little bit easier to see where what goes where. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Wait, 0, 1, add, 2, edit, 3, view, 4, oh, I have 2 4s. Okay, that's fine. Double checking. So that is linked up. So with add restaurant, we ask that information. For edit restaurant, we will want to ask them which restaurant to edit. So let's go ahead and kind of make this a little bit like the customer new order, where we display the restaurant and have them enter the index. Add restaurant, select restaurant. We're not creating an order, but then they can edit. So let's see, where is it? Name, address, or menu price. Let's go ahead and also add an address. So this means we're going to have to change quite a bit of data. But let's go ahead and do string address. And now we have to update this constructor also. Fun times. Okay, so we'll have another little menu. Let's do int choice is equal to get menu choice. Yep. So we'll do edit for update name, update address, update meal name, update meal price. So that should be fine. Switch on the choice. Case, this is going to be 0. Let's just add a cancel. I like having 0 be like the go back. So this will just be cancel. If it's cancel, we're just going to return right away. Case 1, update name. Maybe I'll make these sub menus as well. Case 2, 3, and 4. So the program class is starting to get a little bit chunky because we have so many functions, but dealing with the user interface of stuff is usually kind of a pain and kind of messy because you end up having so many different screens anyway. So let's go ahead and edit restaurant. We could put it all in here. We could split it out. I guess let's just kind of keep it in here for now, and if we wanted to refactor later, we could. So in here, we'll say 2 of 2, enter new name. And I think with the other edit, I said, here's the original thing. This is with the customer update. Too far. Current name is blah, enter new name. Okay, so we'll do the same kind of format. Now we have to find our location again. So there. All right, so for the M restaurants, restaurant index, current name is blah, enter new name. So we cn.ignore, get line, cn, and this whole thing. Okay. We could also do the address pretty much the same way. Meal name and price. And that one's just going to be with a CN. Change that to price, and then that should be okay. Let's see if it builds. It is mad at me because I did not update the addresses. Okay. We're also going to have to update the data files because it doesn't load addresses, doesn't save addresses either. Now, as we're changing data, I just dropped some stuff, but don't worry. As we're changing data, we might want to change how the file format is structured so that we can easily add things on and parse it more easily. Basically, everything is in a specific order currently, and we are assuming it's always going to stay in that order. I do have a CSV writer and reader. We could do that. I'm not really going to get into it. I'm just going to stick to plain text here. So with our data files, we have restaurants, and we are always assuming it's going to be name, meal, item, and price. Name, meal, item, price. That's going to be kind of annoying, especially as we add meal names or, you know, different meals to the restaurant. So this is actually ending up to be kind of larger, this medium, because we have to update parsing. And we'll do this in another way. So, let's go ahead and come up here, and we're going to save restaurants now in a new way. We're going to do a output restaurant begin. This is just kind of a standard way that I end up writing easily parsable file formats. So I always do that. I'll say name, like the field, and then the immediate following one is going to be that field, meal, and price. So then I'm always assuming these are in these orders. And I'll go ahead and we'll spend some time just refactoring all of this stuff. So customer begin, output customer end. We'll output the name and the phone number. And down here, orders. So this will be like the restaurant name, meal, and price. This will be customer name. And, oops, this is supposed to be customer. Customer name. Customer phone. And then address and status. And then we basically need all this down here, except these will all be completed orders. So I'm not changing how we're loading the data yet because it's still the old format. But when I run it, it should save or load everything. And now I'm going to save, and it's going to save in the new format. So reload, and now it's in this new format. Hard to read for humans, but it'll be easier to parse. So let's, we no longer have to worry about the order things are in because we have labels before each line. So here's restaurant end, and here's the price, after price. But now we have to update the output here. So get line, we're going to use a string buffer. Or let's just name it key, because technically it's like a key value pair. So get line input into the key. We'll change each of these because they're going to read a key, figure out what to do with that key. Okay, so with the customer, let's open that up. Customer begin, name, phone, and then customer end. So we've read a key. If the key is, we don't really care about customer begin, I just do that for symmetry. If it's name, or if key is phone, else if key is customer end. Okay, so if the key is name, the very next line is going to be the name. So we'll get line into the name, get line into the phone number. If we read customer end, we are going to then push back our current load customer into the thing. That will make it so we can save name and phone number and customer end in any order, and the other fields in any order, and not have to worry about, you know, making sure it's always in this order, exactly like this thing. So for restaurant, same sort of thing. If key is name, or if key is meal, or if key is price, or if key is restaurant end. So here we'll do meal name. This will be restaurant name. This will be input load restaurant dot price. We'll need to probably do input dot ignore here. And if it's end, then we push that back. And for order, these will be in the same format. And I know this is duplicate code, but I mean, I guess I could also split this out into a function so it runs the same way, but just uses a different file name and then a pointer to the vector of data. But we're not going to go into that. So if key is restaurant name, of course, we also are going to need the restaurant address now, too. But because we are doing it in this way now, it's easier to add more fields. Do meal and price. Let's go ahead and add address up here. And we'll load that into address. Let's go up here. If we find, not customer name. Well, we need to save out the address there too. Okay. Orders. Restaurant begin. Address. Address. And we're going to need restaurant address. So, making updates, yay. Okay, this is complete orders, restaurant address. And we'll have to test this, because do I know for sure this works? I could be making an oversight. And I'm also making a lot of code changes all at once, which I wouldn't really advise for students to do. But usually I'm okay enough where I can make these changes and still things usually work okay. Or at least I am good at debugging things if they don't. Okay, so we have load an address. We have address here, so restaurant name. It's here. This will be address. Restaurant price. And otherwise, if key is customer name, customer phone, or if key is order end. So we'll throw this up here and here. Oops, and down here. And then we need the same thing for our completed orders. We just have to change this to completed orders. And really, we just have to update this part. Okay. Does it build? Okay, no syntax errors. Does it give me the data properly? So let's look at the restaurants. I don't have address being output, so we need to go back and do that. There's orders and customers, so the data is being loaded. Let's go ahead and make sure that when we're displaying our restaurants, we also get the name or the address. So restaurant, meal name, price. Let's also add address in here. So currently they're not set, but we can go back and set them. So edit restaurant 0, update address. Let me just look up some addresses of Taco Bells or something. Because it can be good to set these with real data. And I know if I put like a whole address, it's not going to fit. We'll have to readjust everything as far as the tables. We're not going to worry about that too much. Let's view all restaurants. That one has an address now. Let's edit number 1 and just find more addresses. What state is that address in? I don't think that's anywhere near here. I don't know if we have a... Oops. Well, I messed it up. Try that again. Driver. Actually, let's go back. It would be technically maybe faster to add them in here. Okay, go back so I can view all the list of, I don't know, restaurants. I don't know if these restaurants are local at all. I don't recognize any of these streets. These are just various. I typed in restaurant into Google Maps, so getting some more or less realistic data. Okay, so that should have data now. Whee! There we go. Address is still kind of cramped. I might make that a bit bigger. So let's go ahead and do it's 30. And so that looks all right. Orders, we don't have the restaurant order there, but we will have the data. But at the moment, any of the old orders will not have that data. So if we look at current orders, the address is blank, but if I go back and create a new order, and log out and exit, then this one now has an address. So older ones, this is actually kind of what we wanted with storing a copy of the data. So like if for some reason a restaurant moved, it would have the old address, or if they changed prices, that would have that address. So did I implement this? Now I've been like, I spent so much time on the different feature. Pretty sure we are able to edit meal price. Nope. That's doing a meal name. Oh, I changed it. Oh well. I meant to do edit restaurant, change one of these, update the price, and then view all restaurants, so that should be fine. Okay, what now? Well, we're going to need to change out the menus so we have an admin versus a driver, and the driver will have fewer features. So let's look at the mock-up and think about this. So the driver, everyone will need a view delivery history, but technically this stuff will basically be admin. Now, some IDEs have the ability to refactor. Rename. So I'm going to change this to admin main. Did that build? Okay, I think that refactored just fine. So we'll just do these renames. Actually, the driver will get next order. We don't need that for that. We'll just do that and create a driver main that we'll need to fill in. The driver won't update restaurant information, just the admin will. And everyone will technically need order information, but they'll have their own special view history. So we'll do view order history. And we'll do one for customer as well. Refactor these. Admin. And I did not do all files, but I think because both of them are open, it should be fine. Refactor. Okay, so build. That seems to have gone okay. Let's go ahead and copy the driver main. Oh, this should also be admin. Okay, so we have admin, view all, view customers, view all orders. This is the add restaurant. Get next order. We'll move this up with driver menu stuff. So we'll take that. We also need driver main. And driver view order history. And we'll also need customer view order history. And we'll add these to our menus. So I'm gonna reformat these real quick. Oops. Don't need comments. This code right here is somewhat self-describing. Okay. New order, and then also view order history. So this is the customer main menu. We'll go ahead and copy this for our admin, or not admin, our driver main menu. We don't currently have a separate driver object, so we're going to need to add those. But the driver will have log out, get next order, and view history. So get next order. So 0 and 1. This will be menu driver, get next order, menu driver, view history. Okay, so that's kind of hooked up. Doesn't really do anything at the moment. Driver get order history. And up here, these will pretty much be the same sort of thing. So we got those menu stubs, and we'll need to be able to register a new driver. And then I have not added that to the orders yet, so we'll do that. Just all sorts of stuff to do updates. Okay, so let's go ahead and make a driver. I'll make this a struct. What will the driver need? Well, they'll need a name. Don't need their address. Maybe we could have login information, but not a whole lot is really needed. So we'll keep it like this for now. We could add more to the init data, but since we have saving and loading working, I'm not going to worry about it. We'll just have an empty driver list to begin with. So down here, let's do vector driver, drivers, int m active driver ID, and we'll use that for their login. And I'm just going to, I don't know, default this to -1. So the driver, we have a bunch of them. We're going to have a driver login menu so they can choose which person they are. So let's just go ahead and make a driver login and maybe a driver registration. I'd prefer each menu to really only handle one set of thing, just to make things a little bit cleaner. So put these here. And over here. And instead of going to driver main, we're going to go to driver login whenever we're going from the main menu. So driver view, add the admin view here. I'm going to get rid of those. And now case 2 should still be driver view. We're going to go to the login. Case 3 is here. And I'm not going to implement passwords and usernames. Some students made passwords and then didn't tell me what the password was, and then I had to look through the code, which I have to do that anyway, but a little annoying. But I'm not going to implement passwords. It's not part of the requirements, so keep it to the scope defined. So in login, let's display a list of what drivers we have the option of choosing, and if there are no drivers, then they can register an account. So let's say if the list of m drivers dot size is 0, oops, will display no drivers available, or no driver accounts or something. Otherwise, we will iterate through all of them. So maybe I should just go ahead and create a function similar to the display restaurant table. Let's just do display driver table. Implementation. So over here, really, we only have a name. We don't need all the other data. Drivers, index, and name. But then we can use that to select who we're logging in as. So driver login, implementation, display drive, did I spell that wrong? Driver. Display driver table. And we'll ask the user who they want to log in as. So that will be the active driver ID. Get choice 0 to m drivers dot size -1. And then that should be fine. Actually, let's do this. If we need to be able to ask them to register an account, this can be handled in multiple ways. We could also say, use the last value if you want to register an account. Or enter blah to register new account. Okay. So if m active driver ID is blah, we're going to register a new account. So we'll go menu driver registration. And then once that function is done, it's going to come back here, and we should be fine with the active driver ID. Then we can go to the menu driver main and just continue on from there. So new driver, 1 of 1, enter your name. Get line cn.ignore. Need to create a driver, new driver. Oh, that's not what I meant. cn new driver dot name. Then m drivers push back new driver, and then that will basically be at that index. So that'll take care of that. It'll be done. So say no new driver registered. Now in the driver menu, let's go ahead and have something here. This will be M drivers. We don't have a phone number for the driver, but doesn't really matter. And we need to update this here. So let's see if that works. We're gonna also need to do save and load data. So currently we have no drivers. 0 to register a new account. Welcome Rachel, driver main menu. Let's go back. Driver view, 0, or type in 1 to enter a new person. Go back, driver view. There's currently no way to go back from here, and we have to log in, but that's okay for now. Now, when I close this, it's not going to save. We're going to actually have to basically go do more data. Yay, saving data. Let's see, where are we at? So much code. At this point, I would probably start actually splitting things out and having like managers for these objects, but we're just trying to get through all of these features. So here's data, orders, output.open, data, drivers.txt. This is to output everything. So for size t, I is 0, I is less than driver size. Output driver begin, driver end, and really we just have the name. So I'll do this sort of thing. Name, driver's name. And likewise, let's do copy this part. Down here, input.open, input.close, drivers.size, completed order, or not that, the drivers loaded. And while we'll just do the same thing and get line input into key if key is name, else if key is driver end. So then we need to create a driver. Get line from input into loaded driver name. Otherwise, drivers push back our new driver. So that should be okay. We'll go ahead and test that. So I need to create a new driver again. Log out, create another driver. Log out. We can not look at the drivers yet. We'll need to add that, but we'll quit. And we can go to the data, and now we have drivers.txt. We have that there. Let's go ahead and add a view all drivers function. Implement the same sort of thing here, except we have a nice little table function already. So display driver table. And we need to call this function somewhere. So let's go to the admin main menu, view all customers, view all drivers. Down here, case 7, call that. Should be good. Let's go ahead and test that out. There's our drivers. Okay, cool. All right, so we did the drivers. Now we need to do delivery and driver fee. So let's go ahead and add those as menu options. Let's do menu admin, set delivery fee, and set driver fee. So these are going to be kind of just for all of the order information, whatever the like price on top is, and also the driver fee that is their cut. So then you have your profit, your wage theft. So we're just going to store these as variables in here. So delivery fee, driver fee, and we'll add these functions. So in here, the bottom of our admin menus, add that on. Driver set delivery fee, set driver fee. Let's also default these to some values in the constructor. So we'll say delivery fee is $10, and then we'll set driver fee to $1. Just really rip off the drivers. Okay. So delivery fee, we'll just say current delivery fee is delivery fee. I'll add an end line in here as well. Enter updated delivery fee. CN delivery fee. Oops. Delivery fee updated. We're also going to have to save this data, but this will be a little bit different because this is not a list of data. This is just 2 variables. But you'll see. Okay. Current driver fee is driver fee. Update driver fee. Must be less than delivery fee, while driver fee is less than delivery fee, or yeah, let's say greater than equal to delivery fee, or at least greater than, because then we couldn't pay anyone if it was more. I mean, who knows? Maybe they would have to be operating at a loss, but we'll just do this. So driver fee cannot be more than delivery fee. And we'll have them enter it again. Then that will be updated. Over here, I could also say if driver fee is now greater than the delivery fee after you've updated it, a while loop, if, then we're just going to automatically go to menu admin, set driver fee. Driver fee is above delivery fee amount. Need to update driver fee. All right, so those are going to be set, but they're not part of order yet, and they're not part of a file. So what I'm going to do is create like a config file. I have a bug flying around now, and this is annoying. So we're not going to do that first. We'll do the save first. Oh wait, was that the save? Yeah, it was. Oops. Data, let's just say config.txt. So we'll just do our while we can read a, oh, nope. I was thinking about loading. We'll do output it. So we'll do delivery fee and the delivery fee, the driver fee, and the driver fee. Then in the load data, which the thing does not exist yet, so we'll do this in a minute. I'm just going to put this here for reference, but if I run it and then close it, it should be saving our data. So we'll open that there, delivery fee, driver fee. So input.open data, config.txt. We have our key, we'll put that up here. While we're able to get information from file, if key is delivery fee, else if key is driver fee. Then the next line, we're going to do input into delivery fee, also input.ignore. Otherwise, we're going to input into the driver fee and then also do an ignore. It could also be useful to display this information before we have to edit it. So let's think about the admin screen. We're going to also have to add stuff here. So update delivery fee. It would be a really nice time to have a conversion from string and float values. Update driver fee. Okay, we'll just hold on to this for a minute. Let's go ahead and add those function calls. Up or edit. Nope, what did I name it? Set delivery fee and set driver fee. Now I'm going to go ahead and pull my helper function to convert between. So float, no, I have a toString function that can be useful. And again, we're just kind of loading this up with functions. At some point, it would be better to split this all up, but eh. So where's my toString? I'll just do this somewhere. Actually, let's just maybe make a little utility file. I don't want to have everything in here. Define utilities, H, define utilities, H, and if. I have a toString function. Let me go find the contents of it. Need to include string stream. So we're going to grab that and string and using namespace std. Let's include utilities up here. Oops. Utilities, there we go. And back in the main menu, let's go ahead and do plus toString, the value of our M delivery fee. And same thing for the driver fee. Okay, let's see how this looks. Admin view. Well, currently those don't look super nice. Well, that's fine. I don't care. It could be formatted to look nicer. But we have that. And let's go ahead and admin view, update delivery fee. 11. 2. Driver fee updated. We can also check to make sure we can't do more. I'm going to add spacing because that's ugly. So let's go here. Okay. So that should be getting saved. We can update it. And now we need to add it to the order. So in our order, we're going to add float delivery fee, float driver fee. And let's also add which driver we're working with. So we're adding driver, delivery fee, driver fee. So this will also have to be added up here as we're saving our data. So customer name and phone, we'll just do a driver name. And we need the delivery fee and driver fee. And we'll need this information in the completed orders as well. Driver name, delivery fee, driver fee. Okay. In load. I'm just going to copy paste it straight from up here to hopefully prevent typo errors, copy paste errors. That's one of the weak points of using strings for data like this, but driver name, get line input, load order, dot driver, dot name. Let's see. Load order dot delivery fee. Oh, I misspelled that. Delivery fee. And then input dot ignore. And driver fee. Okay. And we also need it down here. I'm getting annoyed at my duplicate code. That should be fine. Okay, driver does not name a type. We need to include restaurant. I'm surprised it wasn't complaining to me about that yet. Customer and driver. Okay, that builds. I'm gonna quit. Now our data for the orders aren't going to display this yet because it'll have the fields, but we never, didn't have that data before, but it's not going to break our program currently. So I'm going to do customer, new order. Now, we should display the additional delivery information while we're doing that. So let's go ahead and just knock that out. New order. So say, have a summary part. So Intel 3 of 3 summary. So just so they know, let's go ahead and set new driver fee and delivery fee. It's going to be who's the other order? M delivery fee, M driver fee. So in the summary, we'll say, let's just output meal price and the new order dot restaurant dot price and the delivery fee, which is going to be this amount. And technically they don't need to know what the driver fee is because they're just the customer. But let's go ahead and display the total price. We can just add these together. And I'm not going to store the total in the order itself because we can technically just calculate it anytime. Or I could make a function that does this for us inside of order, which could be nice to have. Let's go ahead and do that. So say float get total price. And now I'm going to have to make an order.cpp. Change this to order. We'll return restaurant.price plus delivery fee. We're not adding the driver fee on top of it because that's going to be covered in the delivery fee. But here we'll do new order.get total price. Does that build? No syntax errors so far. And we could also just ask the user, confirm order, yes or no. We'll do char confirm is equal to get yes, no choice. If confirm is yes, we'll put this in here. Otherwise, we'll just say order canceled or whatever. Order canceled. So we'll do customer view, new order, order from Taco Triangle, confirm. So the total price is $11.29. Confirm order, yes. Log out. Let's look at the data. Down here, delivery fee, driver fee, and then I don't have driver name here yet because no one's picked it up. But this whole thing, let's see, order begin to order end. Restaurant address, customer, phone, all of that is set up. So let me see, what do we want to do next? We have order history, but let's finish adding the driver to the order, because in here, when they are going to get the next order, let's say they're saying it's going to be delivered, then we need to also set the driver to the current driver. So m drivers m what is it? Active driver ID. So then that will copy that over. That should be able to be saved. And then as I'm writing this, I am thinking that, well, it's going to be a problem because the item number 0 will be assigned to a driver, and then someone else could technically log in and take the order and complete it, even though it's assigned to somebody else. But we're not going to worry about the order being completed by the person it's assigned to, because that would take a lot of extra feature stuff. And technically the documentation that I wrote didn't say that a order had to be completed by the person who was delivering it. So we'll just ignore that part, and that could be something, maybe a challenge for you if you wanted to keep working on this. Anyway, so that will be set up. Now, what are we at? We have the fees. Okay. So we'll probably want to do the history next. And actually, before we get into the history for the other people, let's go into the admin and just make sure it's in here. So view all orders. Let's have the meal price. And I don't know, what is this characters? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's 10, so let's make this 12. And the, let's say, delivery fee, driver fee, profit, amount. So, like, the admin would want to know this information, but the driver isn't necessarily supposed to know it. The customer isn't really supposed to know what the profit is, because then everyone would be very angry. Because wage theft, yay. Anyway, so we'll just go ahead and, why is that set to 20? Do that. This will be m orders I dot delivery fee, m orders I dot driver fee, and then this will be technically orders I dot delivery minus m orders I dot driver fee. So let's see if that shows up. I don't know if I closed the program correctly, so I might not have everything in there right. Okay, so here's, this is kind of sitting around waiting, and those are the old orders, but here's the new order. I could have total. That could be a really important part. So let's just go ahead and do that. Total. So technically the total will be the restaurant price plus the delivery fee. Admin, view all orders. So then, and I'm kind of going off the side of the screen. Too much space is taken. Maybe I can cut down customer name length for that column. So we'll change that to 15. I just want everything to look nice. Okay, so that's okay. I could make these bars longer. I'm not sure if this is 160. I mean, the default terminal size is 80. Could try to change it to 160. I don't know. And then we're just kind of needlessly formatting extra stuff at this point. It's 2 above 160, so technically 158. Anyway, I'm just gonna go ahead and move that down here too. What do we have next? We have that order history, and we want to do it for the other, the customer and the driver. So we can kind of use the same format, but we are going to need to filter certain things out. So let's see. At this point, it would actually possibly be good to have a unique identifier for these people, because multiple customers could have the same name, and if I'm Rachel and there's another Rachel down the street ordering stuff, I shouldn't be getting their data. But for the time being, we'll just treat the name as a unique identifier and not worry about that at the moment. So program, we have customer view order history. Let's go ahead and copy what we have here. We'll modify it a little bit. Oh, I copied the whole function. I don't need that. And I'm probably just going to merge it so that completed orders doesn't show up as a separate thing. So we won't redo that part, but we'll just display them on the bottom. So order history. We will go through here. We'll say if mOrders i.customer.name is not equal to whoever we are currently logged in as. So customers at active customer ID .name. Technically, we could use operator overloading to say that this customer is equal to that, and not have to do the name, but we're not going to do that here. We could. But if the names do not match, then we are going to continue, which means we're going to skip displaying this set. And same down here. So for instance, I mean, I only currently have one customer, so that's really not going to make much of a difference. And I don't think I put the menu. Oh, I do. Okay. Don't think I hooked up the menu. So let's go ahead and make sure we are calling it. This will be number 4, view order history. Customer view order history. Okay. Oh, I didn't update the size on that column as well. But now these are all for Rachel because that's the only customer at the moment. This will be something we'll have to fix up in version 3. Now that I see that I have a different size of, was it customer name? I'm going to update it down here too, because otherwise it's going to bother me. And I need to update it here as well, otherwise it's going to bother me. Okay, so that was the customer one. We'll be able to do a little bit better of a job with the filtering for the driver version. So go here, we'll just basically copy this again. And with the driver view order history, This instead is going to be m drivers, m active driver ID, and then this is going to be driver.name. So again, a unique identifier would be good here because multiple drivers could have the same name. Now, currently, let's just look at all of the orders. So currently, let's see, I don't have drivers being displayed, so let's go ahead and add that so we can see the different drivers that have worked on something. Also, my restaurant header is off now, which is also bothering me. So gonna come down here, update this, down here. Okay, we are really running out of space with these orders. But let's see, what we'll just take as much space as we need, I guess. Let's just call this like del fee and dry fee. So this will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 spaces, so let's make that 10. Just so it's not we don't want it to, you know, I don't know what was I just thinking? I don't know what my brain was just trying to say. We want it to have some spaces after the field itself. We don't want to just immediately start the next field. And then this part, we'll update that later. Okay, so we also want the driver. So let's just say set width 15 driver. And we'll add the driver in here. So let's add that here. Let's add these in. And go ahead and test. So admin view all orders. Okay, now we're off the side again, so we're gonna... I also didn't update my other fields, so we're changing delivery fee, driver fee, profit. Let's change total as well. And change that here. This is where having the duplicate code is a pain in the butt. Why it's good to get rid of this duplicate code. So there, it's kind of crunched together. I'm not displaying the driver properly because that is the customer. We got status, driver, and then customer, but I have this in the wrong order. 3 and 5. So currently no driver. This one says completed, but it still has the wrong status, so that is a bug to look into. Let's just say meal here and change this to 10. Just so we continue saving space as much as possible. But the idea is we want to have some different drivers do some different orders. So I'm going to register a new account, and we'll have Luna the cat. So get next order. It is being delivered. Let's log out. Actually, let's finish that one. Login as Luna. Get next order. Delivered to complete. It is complete now. Log out. Let's go and log in there. Get next order. So they'll all have different statuses. So view all orders. Awaiting driver, being delivered. Okay, that one. Oh, I must have had like an if statement in here, possibly. So if oh wait, no, this is supposed to be completed orders. Okay, that's... Nope, that's right, but these are wrong. Replace m orders with that. Replace within the selection. I hope I clicked that. Okay, seems good. Admin view. View all orders. Okay, so these are complete. We got the driver, Luna the cat, Bob. Okay, and then this is offset again, which is bugging me. Looks like meal is still taking up too much space. Over here, meal, change that to 10. But otherwise, that seems okay. Now, when I run this and we will go in here, we want to be able to only view the history for the current driver that we are, and it's not showing anything. So let's log out. Let's look at Bob, view order history. There are Bobs, so we can kind of compare. Let's look at the order list again. So we have Luna the cat with a complete order, but perhaps I'm not displaying the complete orders properly. Completed orders, driver name is not equal to the active driver. Well, wait a minute. Go back. Driver. Luna. Okay, it's just showing nothing. So let's go ahead and go back and we'll just set a breakpoint. So driver order history. And we'll look at this. We got im orders. Let's just type in im orders sub I dot driver dot name. And we'll keep stepping through that. So Bob. Let's look at the driver data. Maybe I just didn't save it right. I mean the order data. I'm not seeing Luna in here. Let's just put Luna. What did I name it? What was the casing exactly? Luna the cat. What was that? Run it. Okay, there's Luna's information. But what I'm confused about is, do I have these mixed up? That should be Luna the cat complete. So Luna has Taco Triangle and Taco Bell. Here's Taco Triangle and Taco Bell. Those are complete and awaiting. Okay, that might require some more investigation as well. All right, well, this is the, okay. Well, let's see how we're doing on that. We have those filters set up. Am I missing anything else? View all the program data such as customers, employees, drivers, restaurants, and orders. Driver names, how many orders they've completed. So having the count of orders they've completed would take another function. So again, this is where a order manager would come in handy, but let's go ahead and say int get orders completed string by driver. So down here, we'll throw this somewhere. Driver table, order string. We'll basically do the same thing as our filtering. Order count to 0, or size t, I is 0, I is less than in orders dot size, I plus plus, if orders I dot driver dot name is equal to by driver, then order count plus plus, and then we return the order count. So let's just add a quick field into our view all drivers. View all drivers. So implementation, let's add something in here. And we'll do completed orders. Well, I don't know. And then here we'll do blah. And we'll pass in the driver name. And I didn't set that correctly here. Okay. Let's look at our driver table. And so we have that. Any other features missing? Order data saved, register an account for a driver, access driver menu, order history, restaurant owner, prices listed at least after you've selected the order, able to set each restaurant's meal price. I think we can do that. Edit restaurant, 0, update meal price. Yeah. Now, I'm not sure if the add restaurant contains asking for the meal price. Okay, it does. So that's good. That's pretty much it for version 2, besides having to add on to the documentation. This is out of date. Everything else would have to be updated as well. So let's look at version 3 now. Close all this up. We are going to just copy and paste the version 2 folder. Now we're going to have version 3. And I'm making copies to basically start on the next set because it's good to have that list separately. When I was grading, it was annoying to have to figure out which version or which commit to grade based on everything being in the same folder or the same project and having to make a bunch of adjustments, like look for the commit, check out that commit, or just see if the thing exists. It's a pain in the butt. Okay, so version 3, what to turn in, acceptance criteria, restaurants, several meal options, update the restaurant meals and prices, able to have more meal options. So first off, let's just put restaurants with multiple meal options can order multiple of each meal in order. Customer have different options to choose from, select more than one meal from a restaurant for my order. Admin, print or export the all the data. Program user, log into existing account. So customer account login, which is not what we have yet. And customer registration. So, do I have mockups? I think this is pretty small in general compared to the others. We will need to modify the program so that we can log in as a specific customer, but we can pretty much repurpose what we have for the driver at this point. So we'll do that part first. So let's look at the menu driver login. Let's also make a customer version. This menu login should go to customer login. And then let's just basically copy paste this stuff and change it up. So menu driver login, we'll now put that up somewhere. Load data. Init data, menu login. We'll do it right here. So then this will be the customer version. And we'll come back and fix this up. Display customer table. So we'll probably change the caller to view all customers. So there's the driver table. We'll steal what we have from view all customers. Replace this with view customer or display customer table. Put that in here. And back for the login, we'll use that. Or enter the customer's size to enter a new account. Login is which ID. This will be the active customer ID. customer size, customer registration, and then menu customer main. So then customer registration, need to have a new customer. And the customer has more data. So let's just look at that. We have name and phone number. This might also be a good chance to set unique IDs for these things. Let's, okay, go ahead and add on here. We'll have enter your phone number. And what would be a good unique ID? Usually it's maybe an email address, usually one email address per account. So we could add that to the driver and the customer. Then we're going to have to add that data to the save and load. So that would actually be quite a bit more work. We're going to keep it to just assuming the name is going to be unique, even though it's really not a good unique field. But that's just something that would be like suggesting to change. The customer there. So let's go ahead and build and say customer view, choose a customer, 0, there you are, okay. There we go. And then like these other people don't have any history because we weren't able to log in as them. But that should be that first one. Good to go. Export all the data. Let's do that after we finish the additional information of meals, restaurant meals. So the restaurant, let's go ahead and create a meal struct. We're basically going to take the name and the price, and so that won't be part of the restaurant anymore because now it'll have meals. So let's add meal.h. Let's even add vector, so we'll have a vector of meals. And let's do string name, float price over here. We'll just do include string using namespace std. Okay, so this will be several things we have to update. We need to be able to edit or add or remove meals. And we need to be able to let the customer choose a meal to purchase. How we're going to save the data for that, that will be kind of a pain in the butt. I mean, we'll use kind of the same formatting we've been doing, but just as something to keep in mind, we're going to have to load and save the data for the meals now. Let's go ahead and just build and look at what the errors are. So it's going to say restaurant.price plus delivery fee. Well, the order's total price is now going to be whatever their order item is. So that's another thing we have to think about. They're ordering from a restaurant, but they're going to be ordering meal items. So we need to include meal and include vector. So we're going to have a vector of meal items here. Let's just say items. So then this is going to be actually a lot of data we need to update. Item, and so in our get total price, we'll have to iterate through all of our meal items. Total plus equals item dot price. That will be one of these meal items. It's a meal item. So it'll be the total plus the delivery fee. Meal name is not created. That's okay. Address is none, whatever. And we got rid of those parameters. right there. What else? It's confused about not having meal name anymore. So we're going to just get rid of meal name and price. And we'll come back to this later as far as adding the list of meals. So we're just going to focus on getting things building. Restaurant price. So let's see, meal name and the price. We'll just keep going through looking for these build errors and then removing what is not needed anymore. Meal, price, and these init data setups, technically not really needed that much anymore. We'll just leave them there anyway. Now, this is going to have to be updated. So we'll do meal price and change that. Restaurant price, and I don't think I have a meal name. Okay, we'll just keep that there, but we're gonna, this should technically be the total. Get total. Oh, no, that would be the order total. That would be that. But then does that that includes the delivery fee too, right? Mm-hmm. So if we wanted just the total of the food order, float get item price total, I don't know. We can do that with another function. This can be that now. And over here, we'll update this to the get item price total. And then this would be dot get total price. And get total price. Is this displaying the restaurants? This is order history. Okay. Okay, not the meal name and not the price. And this one is the edit restaurant. So technically, we're going to get rid of this part and add like a menu for adding a new meal item. So we'll get rid of meal name and price. Don't need 3 and 4. This is the view all orders. Item price total. Get total price. And this is admin view all orders. So just updating all these places. And that's the restaurant table. Don't need that here. We could display like how many meals, like meal count, and get rid of the price and just have 20. We'll do dot meals dot size. So that's some other data we could have instead. And let's go ahead and quit. So the data for the restaurants no longer have price and meal name. And we'll need to have the data saved and loaded, and also add a area in the program admin to add additional meals to the restaurant. and also to the customer to be able to set which meals they want. So in Edit Restaurant, we have these options. Let's just say, oops, that's not what I want. Go back. Update meals, and let's just throw that to a different sub function. Meals. So then down here, we'll do void program, update meals. These three, blah, break. Okay. Now that the number doesn't really match what we're doing, but let's go in here, do edit restaurant, edit meals, display a list of all the meals for this restaurant. Let's go ahead and make another one of these. Display restaurant meal table with a int restaurant index. The meal data is the name and price. So we'll have some basic information. This is restaurant index dot meals dot size. So then that and that. And this will be the name and price. Okay, so back up here, we are editing the meals. Let's just display all of the meals available. We'll ask them which index. Oh, we want restaurant index. Select restaurant. Oh, wait. You know what? They select the restaurant up here, so we're gonna keep this to meal index. And we're gonna pass in whatever the index is from here. So we'll go ahead and have a argument in edit meals. Display restaurant meal table for this index. Get a meal index dot blah dot meals size, and then we can add or remove meals as we need. So let's just say cancel edit existing meal, add new meal. Oh, let's put these in this order, and then remove meal. We switch choice case 0. We'll just return case 1, case 2, case 3. So when we're adding a new meal, we need them to enter the name and price. So we'll need to create a meal item. Am I including meal up top? Hope so. We'll just say enter new meal name. Fine. C into the new meal dot name. Enter new meal price. CN new meal dot price. So then we can say M restaurant at that index dot meals dot push back new meal. So let's just make sure we don't have syntax errors. Okay, if we're editing an existing meal, wait a minute, we don't want this quite yet. We'll put this, actually, we'll display it, but we won't get the index until after. So edit existing meal. We'll ask them for which meal index. They're a meal index. After that, let's just have them re-enter the name and price. So this will be our, this whole thing. Does that build? Yes, okay. Otherwise, remove meal. So we'll just ask, enter a meal index. And then we will say the meal dot erase the item plus meal index. Okay, does that have any complaints? Okay. Let's see if that works. Go to admin, go to edit restaurant, taco triangle, update meals. So now we're in the edit meals, add new meal, taco 129. Oh, that took me all the way back to this menu, which is, wait, it took me to the driver menu. Oh, no, I probably just didn't update this part. I didn't change that. I'm going to change these real quick because that's going to bug me. And I probably don't want it to leave the edit restaurant or even the edit meals screen until I am actually done. Okay. So I'm going to add another little loop because it would be really annoying if you were actually running this and it kept going back to the this main menu every time you finished doing one update. So we're going to do edit restaurant. And I'm going to do bool done is false while not done. And we'll do this here. And technically the function just returns if it is done. So, whatever. We could just say done is true then. And in here, we'll also do bool done is false while not done. And over here, if they are done, we'll just do that. Oops. Indent that stuff. Okay. Let's try to get admin, edit restaurant, edit restaurant number 0, update meals, add taco, add new meal. Okay, we can go back. I want to space this out more. Okay, and then we'll go back. We should now save the data. So let's see, how do we want to format this data? We have our flat restaurant file. We could have a separate meals file and then link the meal and the restaurant data together during the load phase. That might be the simplest thing to do. So here you have customers, restaurants. Let's just make a meals.txt file. So we'll do meal begin, meal end. Let's set the restaurant name. So this is going to be inside of each restaurant. We're also, so, okay. Meal begin. Yeah, let's do 4, size T, meals 0, M is less than restaurants dot at I dot meals dot size. Okay. So we'll save the restaurant name. And then the meal, we'll do name of the meal. Dot meals at position M. Dot name. And the price. Okay, so let's go in here, admin view, edit restaurant, and technically I kind of want this to tell me which restaurant I'm editing at the same time. I just look a little bit nicer. Select restaurant, and then we'll do this. And editing restaurant im restaurants at restaurant index dot name. Okay, admin, edit restaurant, 0. Meals, new meal. Cancel, let's add some to these other ones. So, burger. And let's just add, I mean, technically they should all have meals. This one's the Taco Bell, I don't know. Update, add new. Back. Okay, now this should save. So here's restaurants. Let's look at the meals. So we have a meal begin and end, and we have the name of the restaurant. And again, this is assuming each restaurant has a unique name, not a good unique identifier. Ideally, this should be something else, like maybe a address is still not also good because there could be multiple restaurants per address. There could be ID numbers, something like that. Okay, so that's saving our data. Let's do loading the data. So where is data restaurants? We loaded the restaurants. Meal, load meal, input.open, data, meals.txt. While we are able to get data from that. And we got restaurant name, and price. If key is restaurant name, else if key is name, else if key is price. So then we'll say load meal, input load meal dot price, get line input load meal dot name, and we also need else if key is end meal. So we are going to store the restaurant information, but we're going to link it to a specific restaurant before we add it to the thing, basically. So once we hit end meal, we need to find which restaurant it refers to. We could write a search function. So let's just say int get restaurant ID by name, string name. Not the best. We'll work with it. We'll just iterate through all of the restaurants and then return the index value. So for size t, I is 0, I is less than m restaurants dot size I plus plus. If m restaurants I dot name matches this name, we're going to return I. Otherwise, we'll return -1. This could technically just be a size t as well. Okay, so back in the load function. I don't know why it does that. We hit meal end meal. It should be meal end. So int or size t rest index is equal to get restaurant ID by name. Pass in the restaurant name. If rest index is not -1, then we can store it. So m restaurants rest index dot meals push back this load meal. So then that should load the meal data and then push it to the appropriate restaurant. So that saved, we have the data here. I don't know if we have a way to view the meals yet. So restaurant. Maybe we should add that in. I'm just trying to think of where would be a good place for that. And until then, we can use a breakpoint to just verify stuff was loaded in. So let's look at M restaurants. In here, we have 0 taco triangle. It has meal taco and meal burrito supreme. So that did load in. It would just be kind of a pain to display every meal underneath the restaurant in there. But we do have the meal table. We could add a feature to view all meals. And add that to our program. View all drivers. View all meals. That would be here. And let's go to view all restaurants. We'll just add it in here. And we'd basically have to iterate through all the restaurants and then through all the meals as well. So for size T, R, let's just use R this time because we're doing two loops. Dot size R++. For size T, M is 0, M is less than the restaurants, R dot meals dot size. Let's do our header. So we'll do this. We'll do ID for the item. We'll do the name, the price, and then the restaurant. And so let's try to add that in here. ID is going to be M. Name is going to be this M dot name dot price, and then the restaurant name. So let's see. Let's go to admin view, view all meals. Your taco burn. Okay, so that was not really a required feature, but I just thought it'd be good to have that, to be able to look that up. Okay, I think everything there is complete. Is there any? Oh yeah, I didn't do the export, so we'll just do that real quick. That will not be a big deal. Void menu admin export data. That will just be kind of like printing a report. So something that's like human readable of all of the data. So in here, export data. Let's come back up here. Make sure we have a export data report. Call that function. And then what we're going to do is create a OF stream output. I'm just going to make this like an HTML file. So let's output, let's say H1 export data. Do H2 for what all data do we want to print? We want all of the drivers, all the customers, all the restaurants. So let's do customers, drivers. Let's add like a horizontal rule in there. Restaurants, and like the history of orders. Pending orders, completed orders. So we're just gonna iterate through everything again. So, what kind of data do we want? Well, let's kind of make a crappy table thing. That's for the row. For our customers, we are going to want their name and phone number. So we'll just do name, phone number, and we'll do the same sort of thing here. Drivers is just name. Yeah. Don't need phone number. Restaurants will have name and address and meals, which we can embed like a list in there or something. Pending orders. Our orders have the most data, so we'll do let's just say, and we'll do it in that order. Order restaurant name or whatever. Customer name, driver name, order status, address, delivery fee, driver fee, items. Okay, so that's a lot. And same thing down here for the completed orders. Okay, so we'll iterate through customers. Let's do for customer. See in the list of customers. Output, we're doing a new row. Output cell for customer.name. And phone number. So for instance, if I just run admin view and export, it doesn't say anything in the program, but I can come here. Where is my export report? So currently it looks like that. We could throw in some CSS in there, but let's just worry about this part. So drivers, this will just be name. And do for driver D and M drivers. Output tr td e.name. Down here, restaurants for restaurant R in M restaurants. We'll do a similar thing up here. Start the row. We'll want the restaurant.name, address, and then for the meals, we can do like a unordered list. And end the unordered list, not see out. And then within there, we can have another loop. So for meal M in restaurant.meals, output li, so list item, and this will be meal.name. Let's just do m.price. So that should output our meals along with the restaurants. We can, refresh this page. So there's all of that data. Pending orders, a lot more information. So for order O in M orders, and we need to have the correct order. So we have restaurant name. Go ahead and get rid of this part. O.restaurant.name. Customer.name. Driver name. Order status. So we'll do a get status or get What's it called? Get order string of o.status. Address. So o.address. Delivery fee. So let's do o.delivery fee and o.driver fee. And then the list of items. So we'll copy this thing as well. What am I doing? Why is my undo not working right? Oh well, whatever. Okay. This will be the order dot items. So we got that. Completed orders can be the same thing. So we have our table, tr. Grab this. Put it in here, but make this or iterate over completed orders. And then I'm also going to add a little bit of CSS. So we'll just do output style type equals text CSS. You do not have to do this. This is just because I have a hard time reading stuff that's not formatted nicely. So I do this. So output table tr vertical align top. Let's do table width 100%. I don't remember the CSS to set the borders up the way I want them, but let's just go ahead and do this. So, it could just say border equals 1, but I don't really like that. Let's be lazy. Border equal 1. Three, 11. So those are the ugly borders. Name of all the drivers, this information for these, driver fee, items. Okay, so I might not have completed any orders that have multiple things. So let's go ahead and do that real quick. Customer view. New order, 0. Oh, you know what? I forgot to add that feature to the customer ordering thing. So one more thing in here. When we are setting up a new order, we need to ask them what they want with their order. So let's do a display restaurant meal table. We have a specific restaurant. Okay. So set this up as 3 of whatever. Enter select meal item to add to order. Int meal index is equal to get choice 0 to restaurants, restaurant index dot meals dot size -1. We could also do, let's see, or -1 to stop or to finish. I don't know, not the most elegant, but we'll work with it. If meal index, or let's say, well, let's do while true. Not the best way to do this, but do that. If meal index is -1, we are done. So we'll break out of this while loop. Otherwise, order dot, what is our name? New order dot meal or items dot push back m restaurants, restaurant index dot meals, meal index. So we're just adding it to the list, the order. And then we can display the new total. Get item price and then get total price. Okay. Does it build? Let's look at if it works. So customer view, new order, taco. Well, it should have a little bit more information. Summary, I could display the items that they're ordering, but there's the total, confirm order. I am going to display, let's grab this thing's name, Indel added law.name. And let's also add the price to order. But I will go ahead and just, let's log out so it saves. And let's go in there again. Actually, let's do a different customer. New order. I forgot what I added stuff to. Not address. 0, added to order. -1, summary, confirm, out, admin, export data. And the export data screen should also probably say something like exported to blah, blah, blah. Okay, so now let's refresh this. Here is that order. Though this one doesn't show up. Let me try that again. New order, 0. 0, 0, 1, 1, -1. Maybe I didn't confirm. Wait, I don't know. Let's see. Oh, I also didn't just... Okay. Gotta re-export the data. Restaurants, orders. Oh, well, am I looking at the wrong thing? Wait a minute. Didn't this have the items just a minute ago? I could have sworn this had the items here, right? We got a bug in our export data. So where's our orders? Not completed orders, meal items. Oh, it's probably maybe something's not loading correctly in the data. Let's go to load, or maybe even something's not saving correctly. Did we actually save the meals? We saved the meals with the restaurant name. Let's double check the meal data. Oh, I might not be saving it in the order, actually. All these things to update. Yeah, I did not put anything in the order to what we are ordering for what the items are. Do we need that data? We would probably store that data in the, a real world program in case somebody wanted to dispute a delivery, like, hey, my driver ate something. They ate my quesadilla, something, but is it really important here? Not necessarily. I could go in and fix it, but we're going to have to basically add another meals like file or add it onto orders. Do the same thing that we did to load the meals into the restaurant, as well as then load meals into the order for whatever was in the order item. So this will work if we run the program and make a new order. So if I do that and do 0, 0, 0, -1, confirm, go back, admin, export, then that will show up. But because it doesn't save and then load the data, if I run the program again and re-export, it will not show up. So that's a few different things you could do if you wanted to kind of expand on this. One, customer, driver, and restaurant should have better unique keys, not just the name. Add file to save meal items from order. Save and load. I forgot what else I had suggested. But I mean, that's the core of what is required in here and the version 3, and I've been working on this for quite a while, so we're just gonna say that that would be a feature for version 4 and not work on version 4. Just be like, I quit. But yeah, I guess another thing that you could update if you wanted to would be refactoring the program class so that different areas are handled elsewhere. Example, customer manager, driver manager, etc., and so on. So maybe if we wanted to, we could keep cleaning this up, but this is just a walkthrough for this semester's project and what was needed. So I did 3 months of work in, I don't know how long it's been, today. So